Alright, what's up guys? Today we have a new deck profile. This is actually Dark Magician. This is a deck profile from PB. This is, you can go check out his channel. He's a VTuber, but he also obviously plays Master Duel a lot. But this is his deck profile. It is a Master 1 Dark Magician deck. He makes Dark Magician decks regularly, but today we're going to go through everything. But first,
are you ready to take your Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel play experience to a new level? The Untapped GG Companion is here for you. Use the deck tracker to know exactly what cards you have in your deck, and to go over any cards you aren't familiar with yet by hovering over them. It instantly updates when you draw a card, and automatically hides if you check your extra deck or graveyard. This is the perfect tool to help you master a new deck. The Untapped GG Companion also lets you import decks directly into the game in seconds. Copy any YDK or YDKE deck string, create a new deck in-game, click the Start Auto Import button, and let us take the wheel. Once the duel is over, check your win rate on your personal stats page. Brag among your friends and share your decks so they can import them into the game too. Start your path to mastering the Untapped GG Companion at ygom.untapped.gg.
But to start off here, we've got 2 copies of Dark Magician. This is also a very high rarity deck too. I don't know if you'll see the rarities obviously later throughout the video, but very high rarity. We've got Dark Magician, 2 copies, all you really need. You don't need to play 3 because more than that is just honestly just a brick. So 2 copies is more than enough. Then we've got 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is good for a variety of reasons. It's good for fusing, and it's good because it's honestly just good. It's just it's a good hand trap against a lot of decks right now, like Pearly. It's very good against Pearly because you could just sometimes you just can Effect Veiler the monster that they summon, and then their turn just kind of ends right then and there, so it can be really useful sometimes. And like I said, you can fuse with it because it is a spellcaster monster, so on the off chance it does help sometimes. And then we play 3 Magician Souls. Obviously this is, for a variety of reasons, one of the best cards in the deck, because it puts a Dark Magician in the graveyard, it special summons itself, it gets you, it puts Artemis onto the board if you need to, it can be fodder for fusion, it can send cards to the graveyard, like an extra copy of Eternal Soul, for example, or an extra copy of Circle, but you can send them to the graveyard and then draw cards. Really good card in the deck. And then obviously 3 Maxi because it's mandatory. I wish it wasn't, but it is. We all have to live with the reality of that. 3 copies of Magician's Rod. It's the best and only normal summon in the deck. There's nothing else to normal summon other than this. It searches on summon just like any good normal summon, and then it recurs itself when you activate a spell, so that can be useful. And then we've got 3 Ash Blossoms. Again, you got to max out on hand traps because if you let Pearly set up, sometimes it can be really tough to get past them. And then, of course, we've got the Nibiru, good against Pearly, and it's good against the second best deck, which is Kashtira. And then a lot of decks, just generally, just a lot of kind of like tier 2 decks just lose to Nibiru automatically, so it's good to play this. The only thing that this isn't good against sometimes is, unfortunately, against Labyrinth. So if you're playing against Labyrinth, it can be a little tough. But generally speaking, that's very good. And then we've got 2 copies of Illusion of Chaos, because you only really need to play 2. It's very easy to like access this card, so it's not, you don't need to have more than that. And all this really does in this deck is just get you to either Rod or Souls, so you don't need to play more than that. 1 copy of Magicians of Dark Magic Attack. This is a searchable Heartbeast Feather Duster, but more importantly, it's a +1 off the Eternal Soul if you don't have access to the Dark Magician. So if you don't have Dark Magician in graveyard or in hand, but you have Eternal Soul, you can activate this, get it out of your deck, and then you can, for example, like use Magician Souls or something like that to put this into the graveyard and then draw a card or something like that. It's just a +1 just that's good to have, and it can be like almost like you can get out of your deck at any time. Then we play 3 copies of Chicken Game. This is essentially just Upstart Goblin for us on a field spell, and since it's on a field spell and it's Upstart Goblin, you can again just send it away. You can use it, draw a card, and then send it away for Magician Souls, and then just draw a card so your opponent never gets to use it. So really good in this deck. Then we've got 1 Magician Salvation, very good field spell again. But yeah, we only need to play one because it's super duper searchable in a million different ways. It's super easy to add to your hand. You only need to play one. The only effect we really care about is setting Eternal Soul directly from our deck. They can't ash that. In addition to that, again, this is a continuous card since it is a field spell. So you can activate it, set Eternal Soul, and then you can activate Magician's Souls, send it away, and then draw an additional card. And the draw is very important in this build of the deck because that's why we play so many hand traps, so we can draw so many hand traps, and we can sit on 3-4 hand traps plus the regular Dark Magician stuff. We play 2 Magician's Circle, Dark Magic Circle. This is another great card. Obviously, it lets you restructure the top of your deck, add a card if you need to, and then on top of that, every time you summon the Dark Magician from the graveyard or anywhere, you get to banish your card. That's very, very important for the control element. This plus Eternal Soul is very, very good. Obviously, Soul Servant, it lets you draw, it lets you stack the top of your deck. It's extremely, extremely important. And obviously, we've got 3 very high rarity versions of it. One very high rarity version, but we're working on it. Then we've got Secret of Dark Magic. This is our searchable fusion spell. It's our only fusion spell, but it doesn't really matter because you can actually add this back even from the graveyard with Soul Servant. So this, whether you put it from the graveyard or from the deck, you can still get to this card very easily. And they've got 3 imperms because, again, the hand traps are important. 1 copy of Skill Drain. Normally 1 copy of Skill Drain is like, you see it when you see it, you see it when you don't. Like, like you won't see it sometimes. But the good thing is, since we have so much draw power, it's very, very likely that we will actually open to this. And then we've got 2 Power Sink Stones. This is another card that is essentially like Skill Drain, which is when a monster effect is activated, you place a stone counter on this card, and then when this card has 2 stone counters, neither player can activate essentially face-up monster effects. So it's like an additional Skill Drain. And once you have like Eternal Soul plus Circle plus Dark Magician like in the rotation with one of these 3 cards, you win every single time because it's just too good. And then of course we've got the Eternal Soul, and Eternal Soul is everything in this deck. It is the heart and soul of the deck. It lets you special summon Dark Magician. Dark Magician's unaffected by everything. It summons Dark Magician every single turn from your hand or from your graveyard, and then it searches out the Dark Magic attack if you need to search it, of course. Next we've got the extra deck. We've got a Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. This is kind of in here for just kind of like dramatic effect, but you can actually make this. It's just a little more complicated than you think. So you basically, I know we're not playing any like dragon monsters in the main deck, but what you do is you make the Imduct, and Imduct is actually a dragon monster that is also an effect monster. So you can just, one dragon monster, you just summon the Imduct, and then you have the Dark Magician, and then you can fuse and make this card if you need to. So it's a little more convoluted, but it's really not that complicated because you summon the Dark Magician, and then you link it away for Imduct, which just requires a normal monster, and then you basically you have a dragon on board, and you use Eternal Soul to bring back the Dark Magician again, and then you just fuse into Dark Magician, the Dragon Master Knight, and this protects your back row. Once you get this guy out, usually it's a wrap, and he counts as Dark Magician in your field and graveyard, so he's unaffected by everything, which is really cool. And you can just keep bringing him back and protecting your back row. Dark Magician is an important card, good for OTKing and good for just building some quick card advantage. Lets you draw, lets you set directly from the deck. It's important. Chaos Angel is very good in different kinds of builds of this deck, but this is very good for just quick outing things. Dark Magician is level 7, and then Magician's Rod, which is up here, is a level 3. And the good thing about that is it equals 10, and because of that, you could just summon this and then target banish a card. So it's actually better than playing some of the other Link 2s, like for example, like the Nightmares. It's better than playing some of the Nightmares because the Nightmares require a discard cost, especially with a Nightmare Unicorn. Like Nightmare Unicorn requires a discard cost and then it spins a monster, and you have to link 3 monsters. But with this, you just have those 2 on board, which is a pretty regular thing to have on board, and then you just basically get to banish a card. And you also get the dark protection of it too, but I mean that's not super duper important, which is monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. I mean that can come in handy, but it's not as handy. Next we've got the Galaxy Tomahawk. This is a pretty simple card to use, 2 level 7s, and then you get to go into your link place. Just gives you a bunch of advantage. We've got the Imduct. Assault, which again I've spoken about a second ago. Relinquished Anima, very important. Basically, with Magician's Souls, you can steal your opponent's monster. This is probably the most important card in the entire extra deck. I'm not even joking you. It's Artemis the Moon Maiden. It lets you link away the Magician's Rod, and then you can do a whole lot of things by doing that. By linking away the Magician's Rod, the Magician's Rod, or sometimes if you need to put souls in the graveyard, you can link them away, and then you can do a lot of things like recur at the next turn when you activate a spell card. It's just very, very important to have that. Nightmare Phoenix is just easy removal. IP Masquerena, easy removal. I mean, easy, plays on your opponent's turn. Dark, to steal your opponent's dark monsters. Then we've got the Access Code Talker, obviously. End games. Mechanic Crusader Avramax is one of the best outs to the Pearly monster that you have, because it just gains whatever the Pearly has in attack, this just gains that and just attacks over the Pearly. It's one of the best ways to deal with the Pearly monster. Selene, very important in this deck because you play a bunch of spellcasters and a bunch of spells in your graveyard. Obviously, Soldier of Chaos is a cool card, and it's very useful in this deck because you easily summon level 7s. And then, of course, we've got the Nightmare Unicorn. Again, very important because for link plays they're very good. So that is the main deck. Let's see if I can go get some replays. Here we've got one of the replays available here. This one happens to be against MathMech. The builds that are being played obviously change up a lot. So right here we're playing lose one turn, but it can obviously be the Power Stone. Obviously, it's just kind of back and forth which version of the deck that's being played. You can play these interchangeably, but this is all kind of like probably in the rank up stages. So it's probably like a Master 3 or a Master 2 Dark Magician at this point video. But this is actually a Master 1 Dark Magician deck. So either way, it's kind of like prepare for the meta. This one's against MathMech. MathMech is easily like a tier 2, tier 3 deck, one of the better decks in the game, right after like Pearly and the other real agitators. But yeah, this is obviously a very good deck. We're going to summon. They're going to go into the Splash Mage. They're doing a few different MathMech plays here. They're going to get to, obviously, probably their Trap card, and the Trap card's obviously very, very strong. They're going to go to the Heat Soul, which is going to just give them easy draw power every single turn. Set a card. MathMech can be a really, really tough deck to play against if you're non-prepared. And every single turn, they essentially get to draw and accumulate hand traps, and it's very tough to play against. They're going to Ash the Magician's Illusion of Chaos, and then that will prevent us from searching and putting back a card, unfortunately. But fortunately, Dark Magician is quite good in the grind game. Signet Conflict is a counter trap that is very good. It's one of the better counter traps out there. It's going to negate the activation and banish our card so we don't get our graveyard effect, which sucks for us. But we still got plays. That's a good thing about this deck, is it's actually quite resilient. Even for like somewhat of a control deck, it's very, very, very resilient. So we're going to get Magician Souls on board, probably make the Relinquished Anima steal a free monster, which is going to be the Seat Soul. We're going to attach it to our monster, and then we're going to be able to wipe their monster out, which is awesome. So we essentially broke their board. They are still technically matching us in card advantage as soon as they draw, but they've got a lot of more graveyard effects than we do, unfortunately. But still, we're still good because we have the Nibiru, so as long as they don't go into the Synchros that are unaffected by things, as long as they don't go into those, we still have tons of plays, and we can definitely stop our opponent from doing anything serious for a while. Here, obviously, he's going to keep summoning, but we're going to eventually just kind of prevent it. Nibiru is the perfect card right now. We're going to absolutely destroy his board, give him a token. They can't attack with the token. They're going to have a Raigeki. Who cares about that Raigeki? They wipe out our monster, but that monster didn't mean anything to us anyway, because we can out it very, very easily. Anytime we want, we can out our opponent's token, even though it seems like it has a lot of attack in Dark Magician. That doesn't really matter. They're going to Ash again on our Illusion of Chaos, which is super annoying. Like, why did they always have Ash? And we're just going to pass here. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that Chicken Game actually protects your life points. So this guy should have destroyed Chicken Game, but he's going to use the draw effect of Chicken Game. Because if he did that, now he's going to Signet Mining, and he's going to go super minus, because Signet Mining sends for cost and then tries to search. So he's going to give up a monster, and he's going to give up his Signet Mining. Obviously, he's got the MathMech, so he can special summon back from graveyards and enter battle. Nobody knows what this card does usually, so the second attack will do no damage whatsoever. It's good for us. So as long as our life points are lower than our opponent, Chicken Game will protect our life points essentially forever. We're going to use the effect of Soul Servant. Obviously, banish and then draw. And we're going to the Magician Circle, activate Magician Circle, add the Dark Magician, Dark Magic attack, get souls out. And then we're going to get the Magicians. And then this is what I was talking about with the... This is what I was talking about the card, the Dark Magic attack. You can send it to the graveyard and get the draw effect of souls. So even though it's in our deck and it seems like a brick sometimes, oftentimes it's better than not having it. So we're going to normal summon, even though they have Nibiru, because again we have to get something going here. Once we have the regular lock, which is the Eternal Soul plus the Circle, this duel is pretty much over. So it doesn't really matter that they have a token with 4,500 attack on the field. That doesn't even matter. And then we have Artemis here. This duel is pretty much over. We've totally won the grind game. We've totally won everything. There's nothing really our opponent can even draw or do to prevent us from doing anything. They're going to call by the grave as soon as we activate the Eternal Soul. We're not even really committing to anything, but they're already trying to banish our card. They're going to banish the Dark Magician, which is not good for us, but if you look closely, we get to get Tribute to Artemis, add back the Magician's Rod, and now we can protect our life points still with the souls, but you know, we're still in very good shape here because we have Rod and we can keep going and going and going. We have another Dark Magician in our graveyard. We're going to special summon that, and then we're going to target, banish, and now our opponent has absolutely nothing left, and we have pretty much almost game on board. We're definitely not going to activate that Chicken Game, though, because then that would protect our opponent's life points, but we're going to add that Fusion Spell. It's a quick play, so we would have just attacked, and then entered the... We would have just attacked, entered the battle phase, and then fused, so everything would have been fine. Don't forget to follow PB. He makes so much Master Duel content, especially for Dark Magician. So if you want more Dark Magician content, go over to his channel. And thank you for watching. La, 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 la.